We're here today with Louise Phelan, who is Vice President of Global Operations for EMEA for PayPal. Louise, thank you very much for inviting us into PayPal today. I wonder, for those people who don't actually know, could you tell us a little bit about PayPal?
PayPal obviously is a payments company. PayPal is basically your favourite way to pay and get paid online. And we support all of EMEA out of Dublin, Dundalk and Berlin. We have about 2,500 people, and we support our consumers and our merchants from EMEA.
Okay, so your role right now is Vice President, Global Operations for EMEA.
Yeah.
How did you get there? Take us back to the very, very start, okay? When you left school first, did you always know what you wanted to be?
Yeah. So, I was very fortunate. I'm one of 17, 9 girls and 8 boys. Our parents, I went to boarding school, all of us did. And I only always ever wanted to be a paediatric nurse. So I trained and I finished my training and decided that it was somewhere that I actually didn't want to work. So at 22, I took probably one of the biggest risks of my life, not really knowing that, but knowing that I had to make a change. And I went out and got a job.
And can I ask, how did that go down with your mum and dad first?
First of all, they said, we've paid once, we're not certainly paying a second time. So you either go self-fund. So I learnt that word very early, self-fund, if I wanted to go back to college, which I did. And I went back and I did law and economics at night. So I went and I first of all did a commercial course because I'd done nothing from a business standpoint. And I went for the interview for the job, and I got a job working for James Crean Mars, which was the distributor for the Mars products in Ireland. And I basically went in and did a number of roles. I did customer services, I did collections, where we obviously, released orders for out to the stores, and then made sure that when we got the monies back in was allocated and stuff. So I looked after customer service and I looked after collections through different stages, and I stayed there for about 4.5 years. And my boss was very young at the time, and he was going nowhere. So he said, well, I think we need to look at opportunities for you to look outside of Mars. And I was surprised, but I understood where he was going from, and it suited him, the location where he was. So we used to look in the Times, and I looked at an opportunity, came up, and it was Woodchester. And Woodchester was obviously the car finance company, and I took a role with them looking after going in as a collector first, starting as a teammate, and worked up to a team leader, worked up to a manager very, very quickly. And I then, after every 2 years, I probably changed my roles within Woodchester. I was with Woodchester a few years, and they were taken over by GE, General Electric, and really brought in a lot of education around Six Sigma, black belted, green belted, sales green belted, went through all that training, and it was a fabulous training ground. I mean, I use that stuff to today, and will continue to use it, not realising how powerful it was. So I worked with them for 17 years, and I really did different roles. I looked after all the Mercedes garages around Ireland. I sold finance and insurance within garages. I ran their collections. I ran customer services. So my last role was compliance leader for them, where we were being incorporated as a bank and made sure that we had all our compliance policies and processes in place. So in 2006, PayPal headhunted me, and I joined PayPal as their compliance leader in 2006. I did that for 6 months, and then I was a senior manager, and I was promoted to a director, and I looked after risk, which is all the back end for the risk departments in PayPal. And a year later, I took over customer services, and now I'm running all of EMEA operations for PayPal, supporting 2,500 people through Dundalk, Dublin and Berlin.
So were you always ambitious? I mean, did you always sort of say, I'm going to get on?
I was always ambitious, and I certainly would have came from my parents. I mean, my father was very ambitious, and all my family have been very successful in their own right. So yeah, I was, and I always liked focusing on organisations that grow and organisations that wanted to make a difference. I certainly did, and I've always worked for companies that grow. I just think there's great opportunities. There's always work there for somebody in an organisation that's growing.
So you're real passionate about sort of, kids and parents doing the right things, instilling behaviours in their kids. So what kind of behaviours was it that your parents instilled in you that made you the way you are now?
Well, I say the first thing is, never let failure set you back. Learn from your mistakes and move on and make sure that you learn from them. But, don't use them as a stick to beat you. Focus on being the best. And focus on being the best. And their attitude was they educated all of us in private education purely to give us that start out in life. And we were very fortunate at that. Never give up, always, keep focused, but make sure that on the way you could meet all those people on the way back down. And it was really important for them to focus on people, was really, really important. Looking after your own friends and family, but also making sure as you are in organisations, you support people around you to be their success. And their success in any organisation is your success.
So you strike me as a really confident person. Were you always confident, and did your parents play a part in kind of giving you that confidence?
I wouldn't say I was always confident, but I mean, when you're one of 17, you have to fight for position sometimes. And certainly we had our own football team, our own hockey team, our own camogie team. So there was always that competitive edge in all of us because, there was enough of us that we just played with each other and made sure that we supported each other. So yeah, I would say, not say I was always confident, but I always wanted to achieve.
Okay. So PayPal as an organisation, you're at the top. What's the culture like?
So John, the culture is just paramount to us. It's just a no-brainer. I mean, your culture is we just make sure that you're a PayPal fit. And that's really important to us.
So what is a PayPal fit?
Yeah, so a PayPal fit is somebody that we make sure that we have shared commitments and shared behaviours. And they are the umbrella of everything we do. So our shared purpose. And we make sure that people are very clear on what your commitments and what your behaviours need to be. And if you think about what your commitment should be is, create an experience of customer love. That's the most important thing you need to do. We need to look after our customers, and in turn that will make sure we look after our shareholder. But our customer is the most important person to us, and we live and breathe by that, and we talk about that all the time. The other things we talk about, execute well every day. I mean, everybody's doing a job, and we want to make sure you execute well every day. That's really important part of one of our commitments. If you think of our behaviours, be the customer. Like, be the customer means you have to eat your own dog food. And be the customer means you just got to use our product. You got to tell us where there's opportunity on our product, because it's critical to make sure that when you're talking to our customers, you actually really know our product yourself. And I mean, that's really talking about eating your own dog food. Do the right thing. Whether it's, holding the door, whether it's saying good morning, whether it's making sure that you support the new people, whether it's answering questions and giving people the time to do that, you got to do the right thing. And the right thing has to make sure that it fits in with your culture. And we're very clear on our people are our most important asset, and we need to make sure we maintain that.
So how do you catch that at interview? Because people can be fantastic at interview and they can tell you everything. How do you make sure that you kind of really get there to see, do they really naturally have those behaviours that fit in with our values?
Yeah, so I would interview every single manager that comes into the organisation. It's a 15-minute conversation. It's not a conversation about whether they can do the job or not, because my leadership team have already done that. The conversation's around, so what are you going to bring to PayPal? What do you expect of PayPal to give you? How is that relationship going to work? What does that look like to you? You know what I mean? So what are you bringing to the party? What do you expect us to give you? So making sure that they're very clear on what their role is in fitting in with the culture, but also making very sure that we want to make sure we support them to fit into our culture as well. And we take that into our training. We're very clear in our training. If you don't display the behaviours of people, of teamwork and coordination, you don't leave the training room. Because we can't make sure, as you know, one bad apple can rot a box. And we just don't want to do that, because we have really invested heavily in making sure we deliver on our commitments and our behaviours right out throughout the organisation. And we want to make sure we empower our teammates to do the right thing for our customers. And
when you're looking at people, I mean, you've gone through a huge recruitment phase at all levels. Is there anything that you're seeing there in the marketplace that's annoying you a little bit and frustrating you, or people coming in and expecting to get everything handed to them, or what are you seeing?
Well, I suppose the first big thing that we want to make sure is that we want to see people that come in that are customer focused. And sometimes people forget about the customer because they think about, I need to do A, B and C. And sometimes A, B and C might not be the right way to do it. You might have to do A, B and D. And again, the customer is the most important decision maker in all of that. And it's making sure that they're focused on the customer in every single thing they do. And if it doesn't impact the customer, don't do it.
And are you seeing, the respect level of, let's say, the younger employees coming in? Do they have what you require that you think is really important there behaviourally?
Well, I think the piece for as you hire new people, each companies has their culture, and I think, you know, I'm not sure we've done a great job. Industry, I'm not sure parents, I'm not sure the universities have set them up for success, because I think there's an opportunity for all of us to set all of our students up for success, and I think we're working towards that. We and PayPal, and I'm part of the forum, in technology forum, to support how we make sure that we bring in students that are work ready, so that they know what work ready means. And we probably haven't defined that very well for them. So that's some work that we're doing in our technology
But
forum.
even a gut feeling, what do you think is work ready? What's missing now?
Work ready is, I mean, the theory is fantastic, and the academic side is really important. Work ready means the critical thinking, the engagement at all levels within the organisation with people, making sure they understand that they have to be teamwork, to make sure they have to understand that they have to hit the ground running. We're on, you know, all have big targets, all have big measures to meet. So they need to make sure that they're, whatever they're bringing to the table, that they're going to value add. And ask the obvious question. It may be obvious to you, but it's not obvious to them. Engage with people at the table. I don't understand. How do we help them to understand? And we need to do a big job making sure we educate them when they do come in to our organisation, to make sure they understand our culture and our expectations.
Through our culture audit, we'd actually see a lot of your practices. What kind of practices do you have that you're most proud of here at PayPal?
Oh, well, a huge practice of ours is around engagement. You know, we have an 85% pulse engagement with our teammates here. So, you know what I mean? That is a huge number. That did not happen by itself. That has happened by us listening to our employees, understanding that we want to see them thrive, but we also want to see that they are not just coming to PayPal for a job, they're coming to PayPal for a career. And we want to build with them, what are you dreaming about? What is your dream job? What is your dream conversation? What do you want to aspire to? And we want to make sure we bring them on that journey. And part of going on that journey, there has to be fun along the way. And we want to make sure that we instill that. So we have social clubs, we do, you know, we do different days of by country, the Italian day, French day. We do, we bring in, for example, a number of the local people that have shops, and we set up shops down in our atrium so that people can shop at Christmas. We do a huge amount of piece around engagement, but engagement is critical at all levels, and it's not just about the business, it's about the social side of it. And the CSR is critical. Our teammates are very, very engaged in CSR, and we want to make sure that we continue to support that agenda, because that is critical for the local community and for our teams.
A culture of appreciation. Well, you talk about culture, and appreciation is something that I've heard you talk about before. You think it's really important.
Absolutely. I mean, to understand how you fit in an organisation, you have to appreciate the culture. And certainly we go a long way in educating people to understand what is the expectation of PayPal and what is our expectation of you, but more importantly, what's your expectation of us? Because there's two people in the relationship. You know what I mean? There's PayPal and there's the employee, and we want to make sure that we foster the right behaviour and the right commitments for both parties involved, because I think it's a win-win situation. As I said, our people are our most important asset.
So you drive that through reward and recognition. Some companies who are quite cynical will sort of say, you know, look, you know, it's the job. They should do the job. Why do we have to say thank you for doing the job? But you think it's critically important.
Absolutely. I mean, John, you know, to me, you know, common courtesy and manners is to say thank you when somebody does a good job. Never mind when somebody holds the door for you. They're all the important things, and we do a number of pieces around that. For example, we have launched, last March, we launched You Just Made Your Day, a virtual card. By the 31st of December, we had 6,000 of those cards were sent out among our EMEA teams. So people really appreciated that you took the time to say, really, thank you for doing X, Y, and Z. We also give people spot awards where they step outside of their day job and do something outside of their day job. Again, it's about recognition. It's not always financial recognition. Those cards are just virtual cards, and people absolutely love them, and they're sent to the person. The other things that we do, John, is around their development. Everybody in the organisation has a personal development plan. Everybody in the organisation has a set of goals and objectives by quarter for the year. So they're very clear on what we expect them to deliver, but also they're very clear with us what we should expect to deliver to them. So we certainly want to be, and again, last year we were part of Great Place to Work. Great Place to Work is really important for us because it's an external barometer of what people think of us. And I think that's really important to us. Our pulses are internal, and we take two of them in tandem and make sure we take learnings from them, and we make sure we work with our teams to make those learnings implemented, so to drive the right behaviours, but also drive the right culture we want to have, which is a great place to work.
So the key thing about a great place to work is the level of trust that exists. How important is kind of building high trust, and what do you think are maybe some of the obstacles to building high trust in a workplace like this?
Well, again, I think, it has to start all the way through the organisation, and it has to start at the top. And you have to make sure that, everybody's walking the walk and talking the talk. And you have to make sure that you engage at all levels of the organisation. So for me, the check and balance of that is I engage with people right down through the organisation through focus groups and asking them, is the things that I need to look at, is the things that I need to change from the top of the house? How are they happy? What's working well for them and what's not working well for them? And you know what? They love coming in here to say what's working well and what's not. And again, we're not perfect. I don't set ourselves out to be perfect. But what we want to do is make sure that we listen to our teams and listen to our people so that they have an opportunity and a vehicle to give feedback, and we do something with that feedback. I mean, feedback is a gift. You should take it and do something with it.
Do you know everybody's name in this organisation? Because every time I'm walking along with you, you seem to mention everybody by name. How do you do that?
I wouldn't say I know everybody in the organisation by name, but I would spend a lot of time making sure the people know me, but I would always talk to people, whether I'm on corridor, whether I'm down the cafe. And you know what? That's where people really appreciate you take the time to have that chat. And you're asking about kids, you're asking about family, you're asking about, parents or whatever the case may be. And I think it's really important to do that.
So you're a woman at the top of a key organisation in Ireland. You mentioned also that technology forum. I'm just wondering, how many other women were in that room of the top 10 employers?
Interestingly enough, I'd say it was probably 50-50.
Was it? Okay.
Yeah, I would say it was probably 50-50.
So what's it like for a woman leading a company today? Do you have to be harder and tougher, or do you think we're finally getting to a stage that it doesn't matter, everybody's equal?
I just think everybody's equal. I mean, I think some situations that you're in, you have to be just more conscious of the fact that you are female. But it's never stopped me before, and I really don't let it stop me, because at the end of the day, it's the best person to do the job. And I think that the skills that I have that men don't have, and I think the skills that men don't have that I have, and I think the combination, to me, it's about diversity of thought, John. It's not about whether you're a male, female. It's about diversity of thought at the table and making sure that the diversity of thought, people have it, and we include everybody with that diversity of thought. So you don't have to be just male or female. It could be race, it could be religion. We need to include that diversity of thought because we make better decisions when we have that diverse input around the table.
So, a couple of kids just leaving college, what advice would you be giving them to be successful in PayPal?
So I would say to be successful in PayPal, I'd say first of all, stay true to yourself. Go for the job that you really want to be and make sure that you make that job into a career. Look for the opportunities. And certainly when you're looking for the opportunities, we want your success to be our success. It's not about just PayPal. It's about the person that's behind it, because the reality in that is we will retain you for longer, and that's what we want to do.
So you said everybody needs to have this passion and ambition and all of this. What's yours? What's next for Louise Phelan?
Well, what's next? I mean, there's still some fuel left in the tank, so I certainly have probably another one or two pieces that I would like to do. Haven't decided exactly what they are right now. We're very busy right now. We've strong targets for this year. We're growing. I've a building in Dundalk to fill. We've about 500 there now. Another 500 needs to go in there. So we've a lot of work to do, and also we have to make sure that we're supporting our customers right across Europe so that we grow the business, and that we have to make sure that we're supporting our teammates so that they see the opportunity for PayPal to grow in Ireland. And we all wear the green jersey well, and we want to make sure we support Ireland Inc. But more importantly, we want to see that PayPal can be an employer of choice and certainly be a great place to work.